Hey, what's up guys? JQ back with Tech Creation, where I use technology for recreation. So Sony just came out with their WF-1000XM3s. I wish they would have came out with a nickname for that. But these are truly wireless earbuds that feature Sony's state-of-the-art active noise canceling technology. And for 230 bucks, that puts us up there with some of the better performing earbuds out. So without wasting any more time, let's see if that price point is justified. As usual, starting with the case, it's pretty sizable, but it's not nearly as big as the Powerbeats Pro that I reviewed, so where it actually fits in my jeans watch pocket. Yeah, it is a little bit snug, but it still fits nonetheless, so I would qualify these as portable. Now, it does come in black, but I just couldn't pass up on the silver model, which actually is not even silver. It's actually more of a light tan with this gold copper lid accent, and I think that this color combo looks too nice. Those two tones complement each other well. In my opinion, this is probably the second most stylish earbud case next to the Sennheiser Momentums. And the texture feels pretty nice in the hand with just the right amount of grip to hold it. Now on the bottom you have the standard USB-C charging port, but sadly we don't get wireless charging with the case, which I think would have been nice. I mean, the Galaxy Buds have it, the AirPods have it. It would be nice to see these earbuds kind of play catch up, but it's definitely not a deal breaker for me. Now, opening the magnetic lid presents both earbuds charging inside the case that are secured pretty strong. They just fall right in, and these won't be getting dislodged easily like the Galaxy Buds did. Now, the red LED indicators on both earbuds indicate that charging is in progress, and the same goes for the case itself, which once charging is complete, it'll turn right off. And the case provides 3 full recharges for the earbuds, giving you a total of 24 hours of listening time, and it takes an hour and a half to charge the earbuds from 0 to 100. And then to charge the case and the earbuds together, it takes 3.5 hours. And I'll elaborate more on the battery towards the end. Now that brings me to one of my favorite features of this case, which is Nfc Pairing. So for those familiar, by simply holding your Android device in front of it, it allows for instant connection that makes pairing and disconnecting your device fast, which in turn makes switching devices a seamless process. Now notice I said Android because while iPhones do have NFC, it isn't opened up to support that tap to connect feature, which is not that big of a deal because once they're removed from the case, it automatically enters pairing mode from the factory to make the setup a little bit faster, and then you just follow the traditional pairing process. But if you wanted to pair a second device after the fact, you have to enter the earbuds into pairing mode by tapping and holding both the earbuds at the same time for about 7 seconds, and then that puts it into pairing mode. Now on Android, latency is damn near non-existent. I had no issues with lip syncing. Meanwhile, on iOS, there is a tiny bit of noticeable delay, which, I mean, comes to no surprise. Apple really wants you to use their AirPods because every single pair of earbuds that I've connected to the iPhones had a significant amount of delay compared to connecting it to an Android device. Now the blue LEDs indicates the communication status of the headsets. So it flashes quickly when there's nothing connected, and then it slows down once it's paired to a device. And when you get an incoming phone call, it'll flash rapidly, but then once they're on your ear, they just don't flash at all. Now this works thanks to those built-in infrared sensors on both earbuds, which allows for the standard pausing and resuming playback feature whenever they're removed and replaced from your ear. However, I noticed that auto pause only works when you're using both earbuds at the same time. If you're only using one earbud, which by the way, I love the fact that we can do that, that feature wouldn't work, which I guess sort of makes sense, but I would have still preferred to have that option. So out the box, you get 7 pairs of ear tips included. That's 4 silicone and 3 foam tips. And I didn't really like the texture of the foam ones. They just didn't stay in my ear too well. And I just found the medium silicone tips to fit me best. Now, speaking of fitting, they look pretty sleek and modern on the ear. I like this look. It's definitely my style. And they are very comfortable to wear just as long as you're wearing the right size ear tips. And you just give it a little twist once you put it inside your ear, and you'll be straight. But with that said, if I'm being completely honest, they did tend to loosen up whenever I was doing something that would activate my ear muscles, whether that was from eating, from laughing, or smiling. I always felt them shifting and just kind of loosening up to the point where I had to take them out and then readjust them to secure them once again, and then I was just fine. And I did that enough times to where I had to mention it in this review. So to clarify, they're not uncomfortable or irritating by any means, they're just not as secure as I would like them to be. And because of that, I wasn't really too confident taking them to the gym, because if it was slipping out during everyday use, I can't imagine what it would be like in the gym. And to add to that, if your fingers are wet or sweaty, the touch sensors won't work. And that's because these have no waterproof or water resistant rating. Working out with these is at your discretion. Personally, based on comfort alone, I would prefer the Powerbeats Pro for physical activity. Now, speaking of, I usually would prefer physical buttons on earbuds, but under normal circumstances, these touch pads work like a charm. This laminated surface is very responsive to the touch, and the touch pads on each unit can be customized customized from inside Sony's headphones app, with one of your options being the playback controls with your standard single, double, and triple tap that's used for pausing and skipping tracks. The other option is the integrated Google Assistant that responds immediately when tapping and holding while talking, and then releasing it when you're done. It's quick, it works just as expected, and it could also read back incoming notifications as well. Now with the Google Assistant feature off, whichever unit that you assigned for your playback controls, that same earbud would activate Android's native voice assistant feature by tapping and holding it to launch your preferred assistant like Alexa or Siri, for example. Now speaking of speaking, for single microphones, I'm surprised how well they perform. It picks up my voice very well, no having to repeat myself, and the same holds true for phone conversations. I was told that I was heard very clearly, and I heard my recipients crystal clear. I'm not sure if it was a noise canceling feature or what, but phone conversations were super clear.
All right, so this is just a quick demonstration of how the microphones sound with a little bit of wind outside early in the morning with some cars going by. Recipients in general told me they heard me just fine, but I want you guys to be the judge of how this sounds right now.
Now, speaking of background noise, that brings me to the last option, being the ambient noise control. So whichever unit that you assign this option to, a single tap will let you cycle through ambient noise, noise canceling, or ambient mode off, while tapping and holding will activate quick attention mode that uses those small microphones to let you briefly listen to whatever's going on outside. And with the adaptive sound control on, this will detect whether you're walking, running, or just staying still by using your smartphone's accelerometer, and it will automatically set the appropriate mode for you, which then you can further customize those presets to put more of an emphasis on voice or adjust the ambient noise sensitivity. It's a very practical feature, and it worked okay during my little testing, but personally I just prefer having manual control over this, so I just keep it off. So with ambient mode on, I mean, those single microphones perform very well. It really does a great job in just letting out that outside world and just bringing it in together with your music. And the same can be said about the reverse, which is noise canceling, which by the way is activated by default whenever you take them out the case, regardless of whatever mode you had them on last, which is great. And I mean, Sony just does a phenomenal job at just taking that outside world and just putting it on mute. It's not as aggressive as their overhead models, but it's still better than anything. No other earbud even comes close to how well these cancel out the outside world. This lets you enjoy your music even at considerably low volumes. And these do get pretty loud, by the way, which is great. And that brings me to the sound quality. These earbuds sound incredible. I mean, the bass knocks, it's that clear bass too. It's not like overpowering or anything like that. It's not distorted. Highs and mids are equally present. Even on the flat equalizer, I would say is more than good enough in my opinion to where I'm confident the average listener would be happy. Now to take it a step further, I would encourage you to play around with the equalizer just to give it a little more character and bring out more of that clear bass and some of those instruments. Personally, I think the Excited preset works best. Sounds great in all types of music, but personally, I think it really shines with hip hop and R&B. And these are even great for watching movies as well. I mean, you really get an immersive experience with the 1000XM3s. Also, a quick note for anybody curious, these do not feature aptX audio, but instead use the standard AAC codec alongside a comparable sound enhancement engine that's called DSC-HX, which is basically a signal processor that enhances low bitrate audio to reproduce clear high-end range that's not typically heard with compressed audio files like MP3, for example. So think of it more as a filter rather than a codec. And it does a really good job, and this is why everything just sounds so good with these earbuds. Now, my only complaint is that there's no volume controls on the earbuds. I would have liked to at least see that as an option from inside the app, kind of like the Galaxy Buds let us do. So as far as battery is concerned, it's rated for 6 hours, and I found that to be spot on, but obviously it's gonna vary depending on your personal use. And I enabled pretty much every feature and had all the kind of modes on and off at my discretion, and I never had these die on me, not once, during a single listening session. And if you do run out of battery, the voice guidance tells you your battery percentage every single time you take them out the case, which is convenient to say the least, or you can always just check the battery percentage from inside the app or from inside Android's Bluetooth settings. And if the case does die, you'll see it flashing red, to where you have to plug it in and just juice it up again. Also, the earbuds do turn off, kind of like the Powerbeats Pro, whenever it's idle outside the case for 5 minutes to further preserve battery. And then it powers back on whenever you touch the sensor or you raise it back up to your ear. And then you could always turn off the earbuds from the app if you happen to misplace the case, which is nice. And the best part is a 10-minute charge will give you 90 minutes of listening time, which I think is phenomenal. I don't see any reason why you should be charging this case more than twice a week, if that, maybe even once a week. Yeah, no complaints with the battery life on these earbuds. I can highly recommend anybody picking this up as a gift, whether you're upgrading or you're just looking to try something new. These are a solid pair of truly wireless earbuds. So if you found this video to be helpful and I helped you make a choice, make sure you show some love to that like button, share this with a friend, and be sure to drop those comments down below letting me know your thoughts on these earbuds. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe and turn on those alerts. This way YouTube notifies you whenever I drop another awesome tech video. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.